In the turbulent history of England, few rulers have left behind a legacy as powerful and controversial as King Henry VIII of England. Known as the British King who ruled with fear and power, Henry VIII was not just a monarch. He was a force that reshaped religion, politics, and royal authority forever. His reign, which began in 1509, marked the start of a dramatic era filled with ambition, betrayal, war, and transformation. At just 18 years old, Henry ascended the throne after the death of his father, Henry VII. Young, athletic, and charismatic, he was initially adored by his people. But beneath that charm lay a ruler who demanded absolute loyalty and would not hesitate to use power, intimidation, and even execution to secure his will. One of the defining aspects of Henry VIII's rule was his desperate need for a male heir. His marriage to Catherine of Aragon failed to produce a surviving son, and this sparked a chain of events that would change England forever. When the Pope refused to annul his marriage, Henry made a bold and dangerous decision. He broke away from the authority of the Roman Catholic Church. In 1534, he established the Church of England, declaring himself its supreme head. This historic act, known as the English Reformation, was not merely about love or marriage, it was about ultimate control. By separating from Rome, Henry gained unmatched religious and political power, consolidating authority in his own hands and weakening the influence of foreign powers over his kingdom. Henry VIII's reign was marked by fear among both nobles and commoners. Those who opposed him often faced brutal consequences. Even trusted advisors were not safe. One of his closest ministers, Thomas Cromwell, who played a major role in helping Henry establish the Church of England, was later accused of treason and executed. Another loyal servant, Thomas More, refused to recognize Henry as head of the church and paid with his life. These executions sent a powerful message across England. The king's word was law, and disobedience meant death. This climate of fear strengthened his authority but also stained his legacy with blood. Henry's personal life was equally dramatic. He married 6 times in his relentless pursuit of a male heir. His second wife, Anne Boleyn, was executed on charges of adultery and treason after failing to produce a son, though she gave birth to the future Queen Elizabeth I. His third wife, Jane Seymour, finally bore him a son, Edward VI, but died shortly after childbirth. Each marriage was not just a romantic chapter but a political move tied to alliances, succession, and royal stability. His willingness to execute even queens demonstrated the extreme lengths he would go to maintain authority and secure his dynasty. Beyond religion and marriage, Henry VIII also strengthened the Royal Navy, laying foundations that would later make England a dominant maritime power. He invested heavily in military expansion and fortifications, preparing England against threats from France and the Holy Roman Empire. His rule was defined by ambition, an ambition that demanded obedience and projected dominance both at home and abroad. However, his extravagant spending and costly wars strained the economy, leaving financial challenges for his successors. By the end of his reign in 1547, Henry VIII had transformed England into a centralized state where the monarchy held unprecedented power. Yet his rule came at a cost. The dissolution of monasteries displaced thousands, religious divisions deepened, and fear became a tool of governance. To some, Henry VIII was a strong and decisive leader who secured England's independence from Rome. To others, he was a tyrant driven by ego and desire, willing to sacrifice lives for personal and political gain. Today, Henry VIII remains one of the most fascinating and debated monarchs in British history. His legacy lives on not only through the Church of England but also through the reign of his daughter, Elizabeth I, who would lead England into a golden age. The story of the British King WHO ruled with fear and power is not just about cruelty or dominance. It is about transformation, ambition, and the price of absolute rule. His life serves as a reminder that unchecked authority can reshape a nation, but it can also leave behind a trail of controversy and conflict that echoes through centuries.